let us travel back to the golden age of the Roman Empire, an era defined by unparalleled power and splendor. This was the age of emperors and gladiators, of thinkers and conquerors. At its peak, Rome's dominion spanned from the misty highlands of Britannia to the sun-scorched sands of Africa, and from the rugged coasts of Hispania to the fertile valleys of Mesopotamia. Beneath the banner of the Roman eagle, a tapestry of cultures, tongues, and traditions intertwined, forging a civilization of extraordinary diversity. It was an epoch of both extravagance and excess, of groundbreaking innovation and relentless expansion, a cultural and intellectual renaissance that forever shaped the course of history. Envision Rome in its prime, the vibrant, throbbing heart of the empire. Its skyline adorned with majestic monuments, sprawling forums, and opulent estates stood as a testament to imperial supremacy. The city was a study in contrasts, where gleaming temples and palatial residences towered above labyrinthine alleys, teeming markets, and cramped dwellings. The air buzzed with the cries of merchants, the laughter of children, and the ceaseless rhythm of urban life. Simultaneously, the city served as a sanctuary for quiet contemplation, where serene gardens and peaceful public baths provided respite from the urban clamour. Rome's inhabitants mirrored the city's remarkable diversity. At the pinnacle stood the patricians, wealthy aristocrats who occupied the highest offices and wielded considerable political influence. They resided in opulent villas embellished with intricate mosaics and frescoes, surrounded by verdant gardens and attended by legions of slaves. Their days revolved around political strategizing, civic obligations, and lavish banquets filled with entertainment. Below the patricians were the plebeians, Rome's ordinary citizens. As farmers, merchants, artisans, and labourers, they formed the backbone of the city. Despite their modest standing, the plebeians maintained their own political institutions and played an indispensable role in sustaining the empire. Life in the Roman Empire extended far beyond politics and power, flourishing with cultural and intellectual endeavours. The Romans held Greek culture and scholarship in high esteem, and many of the empire's finest thinkers and artists drew profound inspiration from Greek traditions. Under the generous patronage of emperors and the affluent elite, philosophy, literature, and the arts thrived. The enduring works of poets such as Virgil and Horace, alongside philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, remain celebrated and studied even today. However, existence within the Roman Empire was equally defined by adversity and hardship. Governing such an expansive and culturally diverse empire presented formidable challenges. Frequent revolts and rebellions erupted, particularly in the remote provinces. Slavery was pervasive, and the lives of enslaved individuals were often marked by cruelty and suffering. The chasm between the wealthy and the impoverished was immense, with little opportunity for social advancement. Nevertheless, the Roman Empire preserved its unity and stability for centuries, a testament to its administrative prowess and military strength. Yet life in the empire was not solely defined by survival and strife. Beyond mere amusement, these events embodied joy and communal festivity. Renowned for their passion for public games and grand spectacles, the Romans transformed entertainment into a cultural institution. The Colosseum, the empire's most colossal amphitheatre, staged heart-pounding gladiatorial combats and dramatic hunts featuring exotic beasts. Meanwhile, The sprawling Circus Maximus drew crowds in the tens of thousands for its exhilarating chariot races, where speed and skill captivated audiences. Far from simple diversions, these spectacles, frequently funded by emperors and affluent patrons, served dual purposes. They entertained the masses while reinforcing social cohesion and propagating Roman ideals. Religion, too, played a fundamental role in Roman society. The empire embraced a polytheistic belief system, venerating a vast pantheon of deities. Romans held that their city and dominion were divinely ordained, conducting intricate rituals and sacrifices to secure divine favor. Over centuries, their religious practices assimilated influences from conquered cultures, resulting in a vibrant and eclectic spiritual tradition. As we journey further into the world of the Roman Empire, we will examine its complex social stratification, political machinations, intellectual endeavors, and the everyday triumphs and tribulations of those who lived beneath the banner of the Roman eagle. We will also analyze the underlying causes of the empire's eventual decline and collapse, as well as its lasting impact on subsequent civilizations. As we explore this captivating historical era, it's essential to recognize that the Roman Empire was far more than a political dominion. It was a dynamic, multicultural society, a crucible of diverse traditions and innovations that profoundly influenced the trajectory of human development. Our journey into the past has already unveiled the splendor and intricacies of life during the height of Roman rule. From the lavish estates of the patricians to the modest homes of the plebeians, from the scholarly gatherings of philosophers to the lively exchanges in crowded marketplaces, from the thunderous roar of the Colosseum spectacles to the serene repose of the public baths. The Roman Empire embodied striking contrasts, a realm of authority and conflict, of intellectual pursuit and artistic expression, of ambition and extraordinary achievement. As we proceed, let us fully engage with this remarkable epoch, drawing wisdom from its experiences, honoring its contributions, and reflecting on its enduring influence. Venturing further into the intricate tapestry of the Roman Empire at its peak, we now traverse the vibrant thoroughfares of Rome, the empire's pulsating core. Picture the awe-inspiring grandeur of monumental structures such as the Colosseum and the Pantheon, which dominated the city's horizon. These architectural wonders stand as enduring proof of Rome's extraordinary engineering mastery, captivating modern audiences to this day. The predominant housing type in Rome was the insula, a multi-story apartment complex. Frequently constructed with cost-cutting measures, these buildings were vulnerable to both fires and structural failures. Yet this represented the daily living conditions for most Romans, as only the affluent could secure private residences. These domus, luxurious private villas, featured rooms surrounding a central courtyard, typically decorated with elaborate mosaics and frescoes. Within Roman society, the family served as the cornerstone social institution. The paterfamilias, or male head of household, wielded near-total authority known as patria potestas over his entire household. This dominion encompassed his spouse, children, and enslaved persons, uniting them as one legal and economic unit. Contrary to common assumptions, Roman women possessed remarkable autonomy compared to their counterparts in other ancient civilizations. They maintained property rights, inheritance privileges, and legal capacity to initiate divorce proceedings. Slavery played a fundamental role in both the economic and social fabric of ancient Rome. Enslaved individuals carried out diverse responsibilities, ranging from household duties and educational roles to strenuous agricultural work and mining operations. Yet slave existence was anything but straightforward. Their living conditions varied dramatically based on their owners' dispositions. Some experienced relatively humane treatment, while others endured extreme brutality and deprivation. The Romans achieved remarkable feats in engineering and public health innovations. They constructed an extensive system of roads and bridges to enhance commercial exchange and military logistics. Through ingenious aqueduct systems, they channeled fresh water from remote sources into urban centres, enabling public baths, sanitation facilities, and an unprecedented level of communal hygiene. Roman cuisine, though uncomplicated, provided substantial nutrition, with wheat and barley forming dietary staples. Their meals were supplemented by an assortment of fruits, vegetables, and legumes, contributing to a balanced and varied diet. Affluent Romans enjoyed access to meat, fish, and rare imported spices. Wine was integral to Roman culture, consumed daily during meals and social gatherings. Roman society placed great emphasis on education. While wealthy families employed private tutors for their children, those of modest means attended public schools. The curriculum was demanding, emphasizing literacy, mathematics, and ethical principles. Religion deeply influenced all facets of Roman existence. They revered a diverse pantheon of deities, each presiding over distinct domains of life. Central to their beliefs was pietas, the dutiful observance of rituals and sacrifices to honor the gods and maintain divine favor. Despite its splendor, the Roman Empire grappled with significant social challenges. Widespread poverty and stark class divisions were evident, with the disparity between the elite and the underprivileged sharply defining urban life. Gladiatorial contests and chariot races served as strategic diversions, drawing public attention away from pressing social issues. Examining the complex fabric of Roman society reveals a civilization defined by both extraordinary accomplishments and significant struggles. From architectural innovations to sophisticated social systems, the Romans established a legacy that still shapes our modern world. As night falls and we retreat into slumber, the whispers of this ancient empire linger, testaments to humanity's enduring ability to innovate, evolve, and persevere. To fully appreciate the grandeur of the Roman Empire at its peak, we must examine the meticulous urban planning and infrastructure that fueled its success. Roman cities exemplified meticulous design, unparalleled efficiency, and the innovative use of construction materials, hallmarks of a society that prized order, functionality, and opulence. Central to every Roman city was the Forum, a bustling plaza that functioned as the nucleus of political, commercial, and communal life. Flanked by government edifices, sacred temples, and vibrant marketplaces, the Forum stood as the city's beating heart. Here, citizens convened to debate governance, conduct business, or simply exchange ideas. Metropolises like Rome boasted multiple forums, each tailored to distinct civic and cultural roles. The grandeur of a city was often embodied in its monumental architecture. Foremost among these iconic structures stands Rome's Colosseum, a breathtaking feat of engineering capable of seating up to 50,000 spectators. This colossal arena hosted spectacular public events, from gladiatorial combat and staged naval battles to wild animal hunts and executions. However, while such grand edifices symbolized Rome's imperial might, Smaller towns and cities across the empire boasted their own amphitheatres, albeit on a far humbler scale. A defining hallmark of Roman urban design was its meticulous grid system. Streets were arranged in a precise grid with the two principal thoroughfares, the Cardo and Decumanus, crossing at the city's heart. This logical layout not only ensured effortless navigation, but also segmented the city into orderly, functional blocks. Lined with bustling shops and market stalls, these streets thrummed with vibrant energy. Yet the Romans' brilliance extended beyond urban planning. They were also unparalleled pioneers of infrastructure. The Roman aqueducts, for instance, stand as an engineering masterpiece, harnessing gravity to channel water from remote sources directly into the urban centre. Recognizing the vital role of clean water in public health, the Romans constructed these remarkable structures, some still operational today, demonstrating their extraordinary vision and technical prowess. Equally significant was the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's groundbreaking sewer system. This monumental engineering achievement dramatically enhanced urban sanitation by creating an extensive subterranean network that efficiently removed waste and stormwater, thereby preserving public cleanliness and mitigating disease risks. Roman domestic architecture was no less remarkable. Urban dwellings, known as domus, were frequently integrated into insulae multi-story residential complexes. The ground floors typically accommodated shops or commercial spaces, while the upper levels served as living quarters. Affluent Romans, however, resided in spacious detached villas featuring numerous rooms, central courtyards, and often private bathhouses. Far more than mere hygiene facilities, Roman baths functioned as vibrant social hubs, fostering community interaction and leisure. The magnificent bath complexes, such as Rome's Baths of Caracalla, featured comprehensive amenities including thermal baths, frigidaria, steam rooms, exercise facilities, and even literary collections. Visitors could indulge in therapeutic bathing, physical training, or scholarly discussions, all within a single architectural marvel, from urban planning and public works to private residences and communal spaces. The Romans exhibited profound insight into metropolitan life. Their designs reflected a commitment to order, sanitation, recreation, and social cohesion. This meticulous approach, combined with their engineering ingenuity, elevated living standards during the empire's golden age. As our exploration continues, we will delve deeper into Roman customs, their cuisine, attire, and pastimes, each element instrumental in forging this civilization's distinctive identity. For now, however, let us pause to admire the visionary urban framework that sustained the Roman Empire's flourishing prosperity. Our historical voyage now brings us to the vibrant core of the empire, Rome itself. The capital stood as a monument to imperial splendor, offering an unparalleled window into Roman society and its cultural zenith. Truly, Rome embodied the essence of life during the empire's most illustrious era. As we envision strolling through the ancient city, our mental journey begins at the renowned Roman baths. These were far more than mere cleansing facilities. They functioned as vibrant social centers, where citizens from all walks of life congregated to exchange news, negotiate deals, and unwind after their daily labors. These bathing complexes stood as architectural marvels, featuring expansive heated pools, sophisticated steam chambers, and well-equipped exercise areas. The grandest establishments, such as the Baths of Caracalla, even incorporated cultural amenities including extensive libraries, lecture halls, and commercial marketplaces. The meticulous design of these structures reflected the Romans' profound dedication to personal cleanliness and communal well-being. Emerging from the steamy warmth of the bathhouse, we're immediately immersed in Rome's teeming urban life. The metropolis pulsed with ceaseless energy as merchants peddled their goods along every thoroughfare, from fresh agricultural produce and seafood to fine garments and precious adornments. Household servants hurried through the crowds, executing their masters' errands, while the air vibrated with animated chatter, spirited bargaining, and the rhythmic clatter of wheels on stone pavement. Our journey takes us to the majestic Forum, the vibrant centerpiece of Roman civic life. This sprawling plaza housed magnificent temples, the revered Senate House, and bustling marketplaces. It served as the gathering place where Roman citizens convened to listen to pivotal orations, observe judicial proceedings, and engage in matters of state. The gleaming marble structures caught the sunlight, casting an almost divine radiance that surely awed those who walked beneath them. A short distance beyond the Forum lies the Circus Maximus, the colossal arena that drew crowds eager to witness the heart-pounding spectacle of chariot races. These events captivated the populace, with the stadium accommodating an astonishing 150,000 spectators. The thunderous cheers of the crowd, rallying behind their favoured competitors, electrified the atmosphere. Continuing onward, we encounter the Colosseum, the monumental amphitheatre that hosted gladiatorial combats, staged naval battles, and other grand entertainments. Romans flocked to witness these brutal yet mesmerizing displays. With a capacity exceeding 50,000, the Colosseum's lavish productions were frequently funded by emperors seeking to curry favor with the people. As evening falls over Rome, we find ourselves in the city's residential quarters. The affluent dwelled in magnificent villas, graced with exquisite mosaics and frescoes, while the less privileged crowded into insulae multi-story apartment blocks. These cramped dwellings often lacked basic comforts, underscoring the stark social divide in Roman society. With nightfall, the city comes alive under the flickering light of oil lamps, their warm glow softening the stone facades. Though the streets grow quieter, Rome remains far from rest. Taverns and inns buzz with activity as Romans gather to drink and revel in lively camaraderie. The air hums with music and laughter, adding to the vibrant nocturnal energy. As our journey through a day in Rome concludes, it becomes clear that life at the height of the Roman Empire thrived on dynamic social interactions, a deep appreciation for the arts, and a strong communal spirit. This was an era of unparalleled prosperity and cultural flourishing whose legacy continues to resonate today. In the next section, we will explore the daily lives of Roman citizens in greater depth, examining their routines, beliefs, and personal experiences. We shall uncover how they lived, loved, and flourished within this magnificent empire. For now, close your eyes and envision the warm glow of Roman lamps, the rhythmic of the city settling into its nightly rhythms, and the distant echoes of laughter drifting from a nearby tavern. Allow the sights and sounds of ancient Rome to gently guide you into tranquil slumber as we ready ourselves for our next voyage into history. As our journey through the zenith of the Roman Empire continues, we arrive at its vibrant epicenter, Rome herself. It is crucial to recognize that Rome was not merely a capital, but the very embodiment of the empire's power, prosperity, and splendor. This thriving metropolis housed over 1 million inhabitants, a staggering feat for its time. Rome stood as a melting pot of cultures, languages, and traditions, all harmoniously united under the steadfast framework of Roman law and order. The city was an architectural and engineering marvel, adorned with grand structures such as the Colosseum, the Forum, and the Pantheon. Its streets pulsed with commerce, as merchants from every corner of the empire peddled their wares. The urban symphony was ceaseless, from the clatter of chariots on cobblestones to the lively banter of citizens in bathhouses and taverns. In the midst of this vibrant activity, the daily life of an average Roman citizen bore striking similarities to our modern existence. Rising at dawn, they would begin their day with a modest breakfast before embarking on their daily occupations. Romans pursued diverse livelihoods. Some thrived in commerce, while others laboured as artisans, soldiers, farmers, or enslaved individuals. Lunch was typically a hurried meal, consumed during the day's tasks, whereas dinner became a more substantial and social occasion, often enjoyed with loved ones. Despite the empire's splendour, ordinary Romans faced considerable hardships. A stark divide separated the wealthy from the impoverished, with widespread poverty affecting many. Numerous citizens resided in overcrowded, multi-story tenements called insula, which frequently posed hazards due to poor construction and unsanitary conditions. The ever-present risk of fires in these buildings made Rome's fire brigade an indispensable service. Yet, Roman society demonstrated extraordinary resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. As pioneering innovators, the Romans introduced numerous technologies that remain foundational to our lives today. The Romans engineered an intricate aqueduct system to supply fresh water to the city, complemented by an extensive network of roads and bridges that linked the empire's distant regions. Their urban infrastructure included public baths, gymnasiums, and libraries, reflecting their commitment to communal well-being and intellectual pursuits. Education and the arts were held in high regard. Culturally, the Romans were ardent patrons of theatre, with plays serving as a favoured form of entertainment. They also esteemed epic poetry, philosophy, and historical works, many of which, such as those by Virgil, Horace, and Livy, have endured through the centuries. Sports and games were another cornerstone of Roman life. Chariot races drew massive crowds, with the Circus Maximus, Rome's grandest stadium, accommodating up to 250,000 spectators. Gladiatorial contests, though brutal and bloody, were equally prominent. Religion played a pivotal role in Roman society, which was polytheistic, venerating a diverse pantheon of gods and goddesses. Throughout the city, temples honouring these deities stood prominently, while religious festivals and ceremonies formed an integral thread in the fabric of Roman daily life. The emperor, revered as a divine entity, occupied a central place in the state religion, with his worship constituting a vital aspect of imperial devotion. As we conclude this chapter of our exploration through the Roman Empire, we must recognize that Rome transcended mere geography. It was an enduring symbol. It served as the pulsating core of a vast empire spanning 3 continents, a monument to the Romans' unparalleled ingenuity, relentless ambition, and remarkable resilience. Life in Rome mirrored the broader empire, encapsulating the intricate tapestry of complexities, paradoxes, and trials inherent in one of history's most formidable civilizations. Moving forward, we will examine the nuances of Roman society more closely, delving into the lives of its citizens, its institutions, and its rich cultural heritage. As dusk falls over the Roman Empire at its zenith, we turn our attention to the cultural and social dimensions of this extraordinary era. Like modern societies, the Romans pursued entertainment and leisure, filling their hours with diversions that remain strikingly familiar today. Theatres, bathhouses, and grand stadiums were not merely structures, but vibrant hubs of social life. Among these, the theatre held particular significance, a dynamic space where entertainment intertwined with communal engagement, reflecting the very essence of Roman culture. The performances encompassed a wide variety of genres, including tragedies, comedies, pantomimes, and mimes. Roman theatres were monumental structures, designed to accommodate thousands of spectators. Strategically situated in the city centre, they infused the urban environment with energy and cultural vitality. Beyond mere entertainment, these performances served as a medium for social critique, frequently mirroring the political and societal concerns of the era. In addition to theatrical productions, the Romans revelled in the spectacle of gladiatorial games. These brutal contests often culminated in mortal combat, yet their violent nature did little to diminish their popularity. Audiences from every social stratum flocked to witness the games, which stood as a striking display of Roman dominance and military prowess. Emperors frequently sponsored extravagant events to curry public favour, leveraging the games as a tool for political influence. Yet, Roman leisure was not solely defined by bloodshed and theatrics. The Romans cherished life's luxuries with equal enthusiasm. Thermae, or public baths, were ubiquitous features in Roman cities and towns. Far more than mere bathing facilities, these spaces served as vibrant hubs for socializing, business dealings, and physical exercise. The grander thermae stood as architectural masterpieces, featuring innovations such as heated floors, steam chambers, and intricate mosaic artistry. For many Romans, visiting the baths was a daily custom, underscoring the cultural emphasis on cleanliness and personal hygiene. Roman cuisine, another captivating facet of their civilization, reflected both diversity and refinement. Dietary habits varied significantly across social strata. Affluent Romans revelled in lavish banquets, savouring delicacies crafted from exotic and rare ingredients. These opulent feasts often spanned hours, complemented by performances and entertainment. In contrast, the average Roman's diet was far simpler, revolving around staples like grains, seasonal produce, and, on occasion, modest portions of meat. The Roman Empire maintained a highly stratified social structure, marked by pronounced distinctions between the aristocratic elite and ordinary citizens. At the apex of this hierarchy stood the emperors and the senatorial class, followed by the equestrian order, with the plebeians occupying the lower tiers. Enslaved individuals, regarded as property rather than citizens, formed the lowest rung of this rigid system. Despite these entrenched divisions, Roman society permitted a measure of social mobility. Ambitious individuals could ascend the social ladder through military achievements, economic prosperity, or political advancement. This potential for upward mobility, coupled with the prospect of Roman citizenship, rendered the empire an appealing destination for many beyond its frontiers. Education held significant prestige in Roman culture. Affluent families typically engaged private tutors for their children, who studied an extensive curriculum encompassing literature, history, and philosophy. In contrast, those of lesser means often received only rudimentary schooling, if any. Nevertheless, across all social strata, Education was deemed indispensable for molding young Romans into capable citizens and future leaders. Religion was central to Roman society, with a vast pantheon of deities worshipped throughout the empire. Magnificent temples honoring these gods and goddesses stood across the imperial landscape, serving as focal points for sacred rituals and vibrant festivals. The Roman calendar overflowed with religious observances, underscoring faith's profound influence on everyday existence. Our exploration of Roman civilization reveals a culture both strikingly familiar and profoundly different from our own. Their customs, traditions, and daily practices provide captivating insights into a society whose legacy endures despite its eventual decline. As night falls, let us reflect on the remarkable complexity and cultural richness of Rome at its imperial height. Tomorrow's journey will examine Rome's political institutions and military might during its golden age. But for now, let us close our eyes and envision the splendor that defined ancient Rome. Shifting our focus from Rome's monumental public spaces to the private sphere, we now examine the domus, the Roman home that formed the cornerstone of domestic life during the Pax Romana. These residences offer intimate perspectives on daily routines and social structures within the empire's flourishing civilization. Roman dwellings exhibited striking disparities based on the owner's social standing and financial means. Affluent citizens inhabited expansive, lavishly appointed residences adorned with elaborate mosaics and frescoes, while the underprivileged occupied confined, multi-level tenement structures called insulae. The domus, the quintessential residence of wealthy Romans, stood as a testament to sophisticated architectural ingenuity. A standard domus comprised multiple chambers, including a dining area, triclinium, sleeping quarters, cubicula, a kitchen, and a study or office, tablinum. Central to the domus was the atrium, an airy, open courtyard featuring a roof aperture that channeled rainwater into a shallow basin, impluvium, below. This ingenious arrangement not only facilitated natural illumination and airflow, but also fulfilled a utilitarian purpose. The interior walls frequently showcased meticulously painted frescoes, portraying mythological narratives, pastoral vistas, or scenes of everyday existence. Beneath floors were embellished with intricate mosaics, painstakingly assembled from minuscule, vibrantly hued tesserae. These mosaic designs spanned from understated geometric motifs to elaborate depictions drawn from mythology, historical events, or the natural realm. Far from mere ornamentation, these decorative features served as expressions of cultural refinement and artistic sophistication. These architectural elements served as a means for homeowners to showcase their affluence, refined tastes, and intellectual cultivation. The Roman domus functioned not only as a residence, but also as a workspace. Affluent Romans frequently incorporated shops or offices into their homes, where they managed their commercial endeavors. Enslaved individuals carried out the majority of manual labor, whether overseeing shops, preparing meals, or maintaining the household. While their treatment varied significantly, many were regarded as extended family members and accorded dignity. In stark contrast to the domus, the insulae, overcrowded, multi-storied tenements, accommodated the urban lower classes. These structures were often shoddily built, susceptible to fires and structural failures. The cramped apartments typically consisted of a single multi-purpose room serving as both living and sleeping quarters. Despite such challenging conditions, The insulae pulsated with energy and communal activity. Culinary traditions and communal dining held profound significance in Roman society. The lower classes subsisted on modest meals, primarily composed of grains and vegetables, with meat or fish appearing only occasionally. In stark contrast, the affluent revelled in lavish banquets that flaunted their prosperity and social standing. These opulent feasts might feature an array of delicacies, from oysters to peacock, paired with exquisite wines, and conclude with entertainment such as musical performances, dances, or poetic recitations. Education held immense importance in Roman society. Children received instruction at home from their parents or private tutors until the age of 7, when they commenced formal schooling. Boys and girls were educated separately. Boys studied reading, writing, arithmetic, and rhetoric, while girls were trained in spinning, weaving, and other household skills. Religion was deeply woven into the fabric of Roman life, influencing both public and private spheres. Public rituals took place in temples and during games, while private ceremonies were conducted within the home. Every household maintained a small shrine or lararium dedicated to the worship of household gods. These deities, known as lares, were believed to safeguard the home and its residents. In the following section, we will delve into the captivating realm of Roman entertainment, where thrilling gladiatorial combats and exhilarating chariot races enthralled the masses, offering a vivid escape from the hardships of everyday existence. As we progress through the zenith of the Roman Empire, allow yourself to be transported to the vibrant streets of Rome. From the opulent villas of the aristocracy to the crowded tenements of the common people, envision the vivid tapestry of sights, sounds, and aromas that defined this extraordinary historical era. Continuing our examination of life at the height of the Roman Empire, we now shift our focus to the political framework and the formidable military that served as the foundation of this ancient superpower. Central to Rome's political machinery was the Senate, an esteemed advisory council comprised of the empire's most distinguished citizens, composed of lifelong members, typically former magistrates. The Senate wielded tremendous influence over the governance of the Roman state. Beyond its political function, the Senate also served as a social institution, akin to an exclusive club where the elite convened to deliberate on affairs of state and society. While its primary duty was to counsel magistrates and the populace, the Senate's decrees, known as senatus consulta, carried substantial authority. Though the Roman Empire operated as an autocracy with the emperor as its supreme ruler, preserving the facade of republican governance remained crucial. Consequently, emperors frequently sought, and sometimes manipulated, the Senate's endorsement to legitimize their rule. The emperor would initiate legislation, which the Senate would subsequently ratify. In practice, the Senate lacked genuine authority to challenge the emperor, yet its approval lent his decrees an air of legitimacy. No emperor could govern single-handedly. The imperial court comprised an intricate network of officials, advisors, and relatives. The domus, the emperor's household, functioned as the administrative nucleus of the empire. Within its walls, the emperor relied on a diverse circle of counselors, freedmen, slaves, and family members to assist in governance. The court teemed with political maneuvering as rival factions competed for imperial favor. The Roman Empire was more than a mere political structure. It also operated as a vast military apparatus. Rome pioneered history's first professional standing army. At its core were the legions, each consisting of roughly 5,000 soldiers, further organized into centuries of approximately 80 men. The legions served as far more than mere combat units. They functioned as highly skilled engineering corps, constructing vital infrastructure roads, bridges, and fortifications throughout the empire. Each legion operated as a self-sufficient entity, complete with its own command hierarchy, medical personnel, engineering specialists, and even a modest naval contingent. The soldiers underwent rigorous training, adhering to strict discipline, a well-defined chain of command, and a formal code of conduct. Beyond warfare, the legions fulfilled critical peacetime roles. They acted as a provincial police force, ensuring stability and enforcing law and order across the empire. The Roman military's unparalleled success stemmed from its remarkable adaptability. By assimilating the tactics and weaponry of conquered foes, the Romans refined and incorporated these innovations into their own strategic framework. This flexibility, paired with the legion's unwavering discipline and organizational prowess, rendered the Roman army an indomitable force. Equally pivotal was the Roman navy, which played an indispensable role in the empire's territorial expansion. The navy played a crucial role in safeguarding vital maritime trade routes that served as lifelines for commerce and communication. Though less esteemed than the legions, the naval forces were indispensable to preserving the empire's security and economic prosperity. Military service in Rome demanded great sacrifice, yet it provided a rare avenue for social mobility. For many provincial recruits, enlisting in the army or navy became a gateway to Roman citizenship. Soldiers were compensated with land grants, monetary rewards, and the chance to ascend the social hierarchy. A closer examination of the Roman Empire's political and military framework reveals a sophisticated system of checks and balances, intricate power dynamics, and a remarkably innovative and efficient military apparatus. These interconnected factors forged an empire that endured for centuries, shaping the course of world history. Having explored the political and military dimensions of Roman society, we now turn our attention to its cultural and social fabric, offering insights into the daily experiences of citizens across all strata of society. Undoubtedly, this extraordinary era continues to yield fascinating discoveries for modern scholars. As we immerse ourselves in the zenith of Roman civilization, we encounter a world that simultaneously mirrors and diverges from our own in profound ways. Here's the refined version of your text. To better understand the daily life of an ordinary Roman citizen during the empire's peak in the 2nd century AD, let's delve into their routine. Romans typically rose at dawn, greeted by the lively sounds of the awakening city. As sunlight first touched the horizon, Rome was already abuzz with activity. Vendors arranging their stalls, the rhythmic clatter of horse-drawn carts on cobblestones, and the distant clang of blacksmiths' hammers. Most Romans resided in modest apartments or houses, frequently sharing their homes with extended family or tenants. These dwellings, constructed primarily of brick and concrete, often featured flat roofs that doubled as additional living quarters or small gardens. Breakfast was a humble meal. The day began with simple fare bread, cheese, and occasionally olives or dried fruit, accompanied by osca, a diluted sour wine widely consumed across the empire. Following the morning meal, men would depart for work or the forum, while women managed household duties. By modern standards, the Roman workday was relatively brief, typically concluding by early afternoon. This version maintains the original meaning while enhancing flow, readability, and vocabulary. Let me know if you'd like any further refinements. The sweltering Mediterranean climate played a significant role in this practice, as the intense midday heat rendered work nearly impossible. Following their daily labours, many Romans would frequent the baths, which served as central hubs of social interaction. Far more than mere cleansing facilities, these complexes functioned as vibrant spaces for recreation, exercise, and even professional networking. Roman baths were architectural marvels, boasting intricate designs with sequences of heated chambers and pools. Patrons typically began in the tepidarium, a moderately warm room that prepared the body by opening pores, before progressing to the scalding caldarium. After enduring the intense heat, they would refresh themselves with an invigorating plunge into the frigidarium's icy waters. Many bathhouses also featured gymnasiums, libraries, and even barber services catering to diverse needs. The Romans regarded bathing with great reverence, considering it both a social obligation and a hallmark of refined culture. After their bathhouse rituals, Romans would retire home for cena, the day's principal meal. This was an unhurried and elaborate occasion, frequently spanning several hours and showcasing an array of culinary delights. A traditional Roman cena typically began with an appetizer of eggs or fresh greens, proceeded to a hearty main course featuring roasted meats or seafood, and concluded with sweet delicacies like seasonal fruits or honey-glazed pastries. Diluted wine frequently accompanied these meals, serving as the customary beverage. Roman evenings were dedicated to leisure and amusement. While some citizens gathered at theatres or marvelled at gladiatorial spectacles in the grand amphitheatre, others preferred the lively atmosphere of taverns, indulging in games of chance or casual conversation. As night descended, the city's thoroughfares came alive under the gentle, wavering light of oil lamps, bathing Rome in a golden ambience. Yet beneath these familiar pastimes lay profound disparities. Slavery formed the backbone of Roman society, subjecting countless individuals to relentless hardship. In stark contrast, the patrician class revelled in opulence, savouring rare delicacies and adorning themselves in exquisite silks. As we conclude this glimpse into the Roman world, we are struck by its remarkable intricacy, a civilization both dazzling and deeply divided. Rome stood as a city of striking contrasts, where opulent grandeur coexisted with abject squalor. This was a civilization where and the extraordinary were inextricably woven together, forging a society whose allure endures more than 2 millennia later. In the following sections, we will further unravel the complexities of Roman society, offering deeper insights into this extraordinary historical epoch. Continuing our exploration of the Roman Empire, we now turn to daily life and customs during the Pax Romana, an era of unprecedented stability and peace spanning from 27 BC to 180 AD. This golden age witnessed remarkable expansion and prosperity, with imperial borders stretching from Britain in the north to Egypt in the south, from Spain in the west to Mesopotamia in the east. At the empire's core lay Rome itself, a thriving metropolis teeming with over 1 million inhabitants. Its populace was a vibrant tapestry of not only Romans but also Greeks, Jews, Gauls, Germans, Britons, Thracians, Egyptians, and countless others drawn from the farthest reaches of the empire. As the epicenter of trade, politics, and culture, Rome boasted awe-inspiring public monuments and lavish private residences that epitomized imperial wealth and might. Roman society operated within a rigid hierarchy. Dominating the social pyramid were the senators, scions of Rome's most ancient and affluent families who wielded supreme political authority. Beneath them stood the equestrian class, comprising affluent merchants and skilled professionals. The majority of the population consisted of plebeians, free citizens with voting rights, but minimal political influence. At the lowest rung were slaves, deprived of rights and treated as mere property. Roman life seamlessly intertwined labour, leisure, and civic engagement. Most Romans worked 6 days a week, with businesses and shops opening at dawn and shuttering by midday. While many pursued trades as merchants, craftsmen, or farmers, others filled roles as educators, physicians, or government officials. Slaves bore the brunt of manual labour, toiling in construction, rowing ships, or tending to domestic duties. Yet despite their demanding schedules, Romans excelled at savouring life's pleasures. Public baths served as bustling social hubs after work, where they unwound, played games, and debated politics. Games, in particular, held a special place in Roman hearts. From traditional board games such as tabula, a precursor to backgammon, to athletic contests like wrestling and chariot races, the most celebrated spectator event remained the gladiatorial games, where skilled combatants fought each other or wild beasts before roaring crowds. Culinary culture played a pivotal role in Roman daily life. Most citizens consumed 3 daily meals: a modest breakfast, a substantial midday meal, and a light evening supper. The typical Roman diet centered on grains, bread, cheese, seasonal produce, and occasional meat, while the elite enjoyed lavish banquets featuring rare delicacies, premium wines, and intricate desserts. Education held significant importance in Roman society. Affluent families typically hired private tutors for home instruction, whereas less privileged children attended public schools. Both boys and girls received elementary schooling, though advanced education was predominantly accessible to male students. The curriculum encompassed literacy, mathematics, music, and rhetoric, the latter being especially crucial for those pursuing political ambitions. Religion permeated every facet of Roman existence. Every Roman household maintained a small shrine dedicated to its domestic deities, reflecting the civilization's devotion to an extensive pantheon where each god and goddess governed distinct spheres of life. Across Rome, temples stood as prominent landmarks, while religious festivals, sacrificial rites, and vibrant processions unfolded with regularity. The Romans further embraced divination, seeking counsel from soothsayers to guide their most consequential decisions. By immersing ourselves in the rich tapestry of daily life during the Pax Romana, we gain deeper insight into the sophisticated society and culture the Romans cultivated. In our next segment, we will continue our journey through the Roman Empire, examining its political and military systems alongside the awe-inspiring engineering marvels that still captivate us today. As you drift into slumber, envision Rome's lively streets, the roaring crowds in the Colosseum, and the hushed murmurs of devotion within its sacred temples. Let the echoes of this ancient civilization gently carry you into tranquil dreams. Now, as we explore further the magnificence of the Roman Empire, we turn our attention to the societal framework that served as the foundation of this extraordinary civilization. Roman society was rigidly hierarchical, primarily segmented into 3 classes: the patricians, Rome's aristocratic elite; the plebeians, its ordinary citizens; and the enslaved population. The patricians occupied the highest echelon of social privilege and influence. As the affluent landowners and political elite, they resided in grand, opulent villas, typically situated on hillsides with commanding views of the city, indulging in lives of privilege and refinement. Their days were spent in the forum debating state affairs, participating in religious ceremonies, or enjoying gladiatorial spectacles. The patricians exclusively occupied high-ranking government positions, including the prestigious consulship, the highest elected office in the Roman Republic. In sharp contrast, the plebeians constituted Rome's working class: farmers, artisans, soldiers, and labourers. Despite comprising the majority of the population, they wielded minimal political influence and frequently found themselves subordinate to patrician authority. Over time, however, the plebeians secured key concessions, such as the right to elect tribunes empowered to veto consular decisions. Nevertheless, plebeian life remained arduous, marked by relentless toil and scarce leisure. It is worth noting, though, that the distinction between patricians and plebeians was not always rigidly defined. Numerous plebeians achieved wealth and social standing through successful careers in commerce or military endeavours. These upwardly mobile individuals, known as novi homines, new men, frequently sought to imitate patrician customs by constructing lavish residences and funding public spectacles and celebrations. Slavery played a pivotal role in both Roman society and its economic framework. Enslaved individuals performed diverse duties ranging from field work to domestic service, and were commonly subjected to brutal treatment by their owners. Nevertheless, slaves could secure their freedom through various means, and those liberated often attained citizenship, though with restricted privileges. Roman perspectives on wealth and status were distinctive. Contrary to prevailing norms in other cultures, they did not inherently associate affluence with moral worth. Instead, they esteemed a principle termed dignitas, broadly interpreted as dignity or social esteem, which reflected an individual's clout, renown, and societal rank. Individuals could elevate their social standing through military service, political office, or funding civic projects. Roman culture thrived on grand spectacles and theatrical performances. The Colosseum, renowned for its brutal gladiatorial contests, embodied this passion for public entertainment. These events, frequently financed by affluent patricians, attracted massive audiences numbering in the tens of thousands. Gladiators, typically enslaved individuals or convicted criminals, battled to the death, captivating spectators with their lethal combats. Theatre also held great appeal, with dramatic productions regularly staged during festivals and sacred observances. Religion permeated Roman society, influencing every facet of daily life. The Romans venerated a diverse pantheon of deities, each governing specific realms and duties. Frequent religious festivals featured elaborate rituals, including sacrifices, prayers, and ceremonial parades. By paying homage to the gods through these practices, the Romans sought to secure divine favour and safeguard their community. Education held paramount importance in Roman society, serving as the cornerstone for social advancement and personal prestige. Affluent Romans employed private tutors to instruct their children in literacy, numeracy, and classical studies, ensuring a well-rounded intellectual foundation. Beyond mere knowledge acquisition, Roman education aimed to cultivate the moral principles and civic virtues central to their cultural identity. To summarize, The zenith of the Roman Empire was defined by stark class distinctions, a passion for public spectacles and theatrical performances, profound religious devotion, and an unwavering commitment to education. Despite widespread adversity, Roman society thrived as a beacon of cultural richness, dignity, and honor. This intricate and dynamic civilization undoubtedly explains Rome's enduring dominance over the ancient world for centuries. Earlier, we explored the ascent of the Roman Empire, its governance, and the quotidian experiences of its populace. Now, we turn our focus to the societal framework and interpersonal dynamics that shaped Rome at its height. Much like other ancient civilizations, the Roman Empire operated within a strictly stratified social order. At its apex stood the patricians, the aristocratic elite who monopolized political authority and influence. These families traced their lineage to Rome's original senators, who were appointed by Romulus, the legendary founder of the city. Patrician families enjoyed numerous privileges, most notably the exclusive eligibility for prestigious positions such as consul and censor. Their wealth derived from vast agricultural estates, known as latifundia, which were cultivated by enslaved labourers or tenant farmers. Beneath the patricians stood the equestrians, also referred to as the equites or the knightly class. Originally, membership in this class was determined by one's ability to furnish a horse for military duty, but it gradually transformed into a prosperous commercial elite. Engaged in diverse enterprises, from tax collection to public contracting, their economic clout eventually translated into significant political sway. Despite lacking the formal privileges of the patrician order, by far the most populous class was the plebeians, free Roman citizens who belonged to neither the patrician nor equestrian ranks. Comprising artisans, merchants, farmers, and labourers, they formed the foundation of Rome's economy. Although granted voting rights, they were initially excluded from holding the highest political offices. Through persistent collective action and political struggle known as the conflict of the orders, the plebeians gradually secured significant political rights, including access to the consulship and the creation of tribunes, elected officials specifically tasked with safeguarding their interests. At the base of Roman society were slaves and freedmen who occupied the lowest rungs of the social hierarchy. Slavery was deeply embedded in Roman civilization, with enslaved individuals performing a wide range of duties, from domestic labor to gladiatorial combat. Unlike later systems of slavery, Roman enslavement was not racially based. Instead, it stemmed from military conquest, criminal punishment, or insolvency. Freedmen, in contrast, were former slaves who had either purchased their liberty or been manumitted by their owners. Although they enjoyed many legal rights of citizenship, freedmen remained socially inferior to freeborn Romans in the eyes of society. Rome's social structure also reflected distinct gender roles. While men held dominance in public life, Roman women possessed a notable level of personal and financial autonomy, unusual for the ancient world. They could manage property, conduct business, and even initiate divorce proceedings. Nevertheless, they remained excluded from voting and public office. The Roman Empire stood out for its remarkable multicultural character. As the empire expanded, it assimilated diverse cultures, languages, and religious traditions, enriching Roman society. This vibrant diversity permeated every facet of Roman life, from culinary traditions and attire to spiritual customs and artistic endeavors. At the height of the empire, limited social mobility existed. A plebeian could accumulate wealth and ascend to the equestrian class. A slave might gain freedom and rise as a prosperous merchant. Similarly, an equestrian could secure a seat in the Senate upon meeting the requisite property qualifications. Yet, such cases were exceptional rather than commonplace, as most individuals remained confined to their birth status. Ultimately, Roman society during its zenith was a sophisticated yet rigid hierarchy, granting varying degrees of privilege and influence to its citizens. Despite its entrenched disparities, it provided rare avenues for upward mobility, an uncommon feature in the ancient world. The following section will examine the organizational framework of the Roman military and analyze the key factors contributing to its extraordinary effectiveness. Now, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and immerse yourself in the world of the Roman legions. As dusk fell over Rome, the city came alive, transforming into a bustling nocturnal hub. Street vendors shuttered their stalls, labourers returned from the fields, and the glow of countless taverns and bathhouses illuminated the cobblestone streets. Among these, the Baths of Caracalla stood as one of the most renowned. Built in the 3rd century AD, this monumental complex was far more than a mere bathing facility. It served as a comprehensive leisure centre, featuring libraries, gardens, and even a gymnasium. Visitors would begin their experience in the Appetiterium, a changing area furnished with wooden lockers, before moving to the Tepidarium, a moderately heated chamber designed to induce perspiration and cleanse the body. Here's the refined version of your text. Next, they would proceed to the Caldariums, a heated bath, before concluding their ritual in the Suffrigidariums, a cold plunge pool intended to tighten the pores and rejuvenate the body. This practice not only upheld hygiene, but also fostered relaxation and camaraderie among patrons, who included everyone from politicians and poets to generals and gladiators. Following their visit to the baths, Romans might attend a banquet, another essential aspect of social life in the empire. These gatherings were opulent affairs, where guests reclined on couches while indulging in delicacies such as roasted peacock and stuffed dormice. The host's wealth dictated the extravagance of the event, with some aristocrats hiring professional performers to entertain their guests. Music, poetry recitals, and even acrobatic displays were commonplace at such occasions. Yet life in the Roman Empire was not solely defined by leisure and luxury. A darker undercurrent of inequality and brutality also pervaded society. While the elite revelled in the comforts of villas and lavish feasts, the impoverished endured wretched living conditions, often crammed into precarious multi-story tenements called insulae. These structures were prone to collapse and fire, and their residents frequently lacked basic necessities like clean water or proper sanitation. This version maintains the original meaning while enhancing clarity, flow, and stylistic richness. Let me know if you'd like any further refinements. The empire's foundation relied heavily on enslaved populations who undertook diverse roles, from grueling agricultural labour to domestic duties in affluent households. Regarded as mere property, slaves endured brutal treatment, with manumission, the act of a master granting freedom, offering their sole prospect of liberation. Yet, despite these oppressive conditions, the Roman Empire maintained remarkable stability, underpinned by a robust legal framework and highly effective governance. Renowned for their engineering prowess, the Romans developed an extensive infrastructure of roads and aqueducts, which bolstered trade and connectivity throughout their territories. Their architectural ingenuity was equally groundbreaking, with advancements in concrete and the arch enabling the construction of iconic landmarks such as the Colosseum and the Pantheon. Beyond infrastructure, the Romans excelled in cultural and artistic endeavours. Literary giants like Virgil and Ovid produced timeless epics that remain pillars of classical study. Sculptors crafted lifelike depictions of rulers and deities, while even utilitarian items like pottery and jewellery showcased intricate designs, underscoring the Roman reverence for artistry and meticulous craftsmanship. Ultimately, life at the height of the Roman Empire embodied a striking duality, where grandeur and innovation coexisted with exploitation and hardship. This was an era marked by extraordinary prosperity and dominance, yet equally characterized by deprivation and subjugation. A civilization that prized learning and refinement, yet equally indulged in extravagance and ostentation. Though the empire would ultimately crumble, its enduring legacy persists in contemporary society, evident in our architecture, legal frameworks, linguistic traditions, and cultural heritage. As we journey further into this captivating epoch, we will uncover the intricacies of daily existence, delving into the customs, convictions, and routines of its people. We will also scrutinize the forces that precipitated the empire's decline and collapse, a pivotal transformation that heralded the Middle Ages and irrevocably altered the trajectory of Western civilization. Until then, close your eyes and envision the splendor of Rome, an empire that once reigned supreme and, in countless ways, endures. To fully grasp the essence of the Roman Empire at its zenith, we must examine the nuances of everyday life, especially within the vibrant heart of Rome itself. For a deeper understanding, let us envision a day in the life of an ordinary Roman citizen. Known as dies, the Roman day commenced at dawn, around the 6th hour. The day concluded at sunset. Their timekeeping system divided daylight into 12 hours, known as horae. However, since daylight duration fluctuated with the seasons, these hours were not of fixed length, resulting in a more fluid and variable concept of time compared to our modern standards. A Roman citizen's daily routine was heavily influenced by their social standing. The privileged patricians commenced their day with a modest breakfast, the cientaculum, usually featuring cheese and occasionally olives or dried fruits. This was followed by the morning salutatio, a formal ritual where clients, known as clientes, paid homage to their patron, or patronus. This practice was central to the patron-client relationship, a cornerstone of Roman social structure. Clients, typically from the lower classes, offered loyalty and services in return for their patron's protection and assistance. If our hypothetical Roman citizen belonged to the plebeian class or was a commoner, their daily life would unfold quite differently. After a similarly frugal meal, they would set out for work. Numerous individuals toiled as farmers, labourers, or skilled craftsmen, while some found employment in the households of affluent Romans. The vibrant Roman markets, or mela, teemed with stalls offering an array of goods: fresh fruits and vegetables, seafood and meats, fine fabrics, and exquisite jewellery. These markets buzzed with energy, alive with the clamour of bargaining merchants, the aroma of fresh produce, and the spectacle of Romans from every social stratum mingling. By midday, Romans paused briefly for pundium, their light midday meal, typically a cold repast due to the scorching Mediterranean heat. This quick refreshment allowed them to resume work until late afternoon. The privileged classes might dedicate this time to political affairs, overseeing their estates or managing commercial ventures. Meanwhile, the intellectual elite immersed themselves in philosophical discourse or literary pursuits, while the less fortunate persevered with manual labour ploughing fields, crafting wares, or serving in patrician homes. As the late afternoon approached around 3 p.m. by modern reckoning, Romans flocked to the public baths. Far more than mere hygiene facilities, these baths functioned as social and recreational hubs where citizens gathered to exercise, socialize, and even negotiate business deals. The baths stood as an architectural masterpiece of the Roman Empire, featuring sophisticated amenities such as heated and chilled pools, steam chambers, and exercise courtyards. For our Roman citizen, regardless of social status, these baths were a daily necessity, consuming a significant portion of their routine. As dusk fell, the day's principal meal, the sine, was served. Among the elite, this was an extravagant occasion featuring elaborate multi-course banquets with exotic delicacies ranging from oysters to peacock tongues. For ordinary Romans, however, the cenas was far more modest, typically comprising grain-based dishes, vegetables, and occasionally meat or fish. The meal concluded with the commissatio, a convivial drinking gathering that signalled the day's end. The wealthy hosted these festivities in their opulent residences, while those of lesser means might convene at a neighbourhood tavern or papinar. Amid flowing wine, Romans engaged in spirited discussions, played games, and revelled in entertainment such as musical performances or theatrical acts. In envisioning the daily life of our Roman citizen, we must acknowledge that while the empire boasted immense prosperity and innovation, it was also a world of striking disparities. The opulence of the privileged few stood in sharp contrast to the struggles of the impoverished many. The majestic splendour of public architecture stood in striking contrast to the modest dwellings of ordinary citizens. Yet, irrespective of social standing, all Romans were united by the pulse of daily life, the richness of their shared culture, and the pride of belonging to one of history's most formidable civilizations. This examination of a Roman citizen's daily existence provides insight into the intricate and layered realities of life at the height of the Roman Empire. As our exploration continues, we will further uncover the societal frameworks, cultural traditions, and pivotal historical developments that defined this extraordinary civilization. Venturing deeper into the vibrant tapestry of the Roman Empire in its golden age, we traverse the lively streets of Rome, a city pulsing with unmatched cultural and economic vitality. Rome's allure captivated outsiders, drawing them toward its architectural marvels and the prospect of a life brimming with opportunity and adventure. During this era, the city was far more than a mere physical space. It embodied the very essence of power, sophistication, and imperial majesty. Picture yourself as a Roman citizen in the 1st or 2nd century AD. At daybreak, the faint murmur of the awakening city would rouse you from sleep. The aroma of freshly baked bread drifts from neighbourhood bakeries. The rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil echoes through the winding alleyways from bustling blacksmith workshops. A vibrant chorus of merchants hawking their wares infuses the air with palpable energy. Stepping onto the cobblestone streets reveals a tapestry of daily life, citizens of all walks going about their routines. Artisans, labourers, and small-scale merchants formed the majority of Rome's populace, serving as the economic foundation that fueled its prosperity. Above them thrived the equestrians, an enterprising middle class of affluent businessmen and civil administrators. At society's pinnacle stood the patricians, elite landowners, and powerful statesmen who dominated political affairs. Education commanded great reverence in Roman culture. Affluent households engaged private tutors or enrolled their children in ludi, where they studied grammar, rhetoric, philosophy, and physical training. Those of humbler means, however, faced considerable barriers to formal schooling. Here's the refined version of your text. Their knowledge was typically limited to what they had acquired from their parents or through apprenticeships. Despite social inequalities, Roman society was united by a common passion for entertainment and leisure. Public baths served as popular gathering places where Romans from all walks of life could unwind, exercise, and participate in intellectual discussions. Similarly, amphitheatres, most notably the Colosseum, hosted a wide array of public spectacles. While the Roman diet was simple yet nutritious, relying on staples such as wheat, olive oil, and wine, the wealthy enjoyed lavish banquets featuring an assortment of meats, seafood, fruits, and desserts. In contrast, the less affluent subsisted on a modest diet of porridge, bread, and occasionally small portions of meat or fish. The Roman Empire was celebrated for its sophisticated legal system, which established the groundwork for numerous modern legal concepts. Roman law regulated every facet of daily life, spanning property rights to criminal justice. It was enforced by an intricate hierarchy of officials and courts, with the emperor presiding as the ultimate judicial authority. Religiously, the Romans revered a diverse pantheon of deities, each presiding over distinct facets of human existence. They maintained that fostering divine favor through worship would secure societal harmony and abundance. This conviction found expression in elaborate ceremonies, sacred offerings, and vibrant public celebrations. Stepping away from this vivid portrayal of daily Roman life, we gained profound admiration for the empire's cultural richness, sophisticated social organization, and the dynamic vitality that animated its civilization. At its peak, the Roman Empire transcended mere territorial conquest. It stood as a melting pot of human endeavor and societal progress, whose enduring legacy continues to resonate today. In the following section, we will examine the intricate political mechanisms that steered this extraordinary empire. For now, let your imagination wander through Rome's majestic avenues as you settle into tranquil repose. As our exploration of the Roman Empire's golden age continues, we turn to the complexities of its political landscape and the unparalleled might of its military. The empire's governance exemplified a nuanced fusion of autocratic rule and republican tradition. While the emperor wielded supreme authority, the Senate preserved its advisory and legislative functions, maintaining a vestige of democratic governance. The Roman political system represented an unprecedented synthesis of monarchy, oligarchy, and democracy, a distinctive combination unparalleled in its era. While the emperor served as the supreme authority, the Senate, composed of aristocratic members, maintained substantial influence in imperial governance. As a legacy institution from the Roman Republic, the Senate wielded significant power, serving as a counterbalance to the emperor's absolute authority. Senators, appointed by the emperor, held lifetime tenure unless removed for misconduct. Their primary duties included legislating, managing state finances, and overseeing judicial matters. In contrast to Rome's complex political framework, its military power was characterized by straightforward dominance. The Roman army stood as the most formidable military force of its time, highly organized, disciplined, and ruthlessly efficient. Structured into legions of approximately 5,000 soldiers each, The military was further subdivided into centuries, each commanded by a centurion. Roman military operated as a meritocratic system where advancement depended on demonstrated bravery and skill rather than aristocratic privilege. Rome's military dominance stemmed not only from its disciplined and highly organized forces, but also from groundbreaking innovations in warfare technology. Among their notable inventions was the pilum, a specialized javelin engineered to bend on impact, rendering it unusable by enemy combatants. Additionally, the Romans constructed an extensive network of roads and bridges, enabling rapid troop deployments and efficient supply transport. Beyond its military and political supremacy, the Roman Empire flourished as a center of cultural and intellectual achievement. Its enduring legacy in literature, art, architecture, and philosophy continues to shape modern society. Roman rulers were prolific supporters of the arts, frequently sponsoring monumental architectural endeavors like the Colosseum, the Pantheon, and the Baths of Caracalla, grandiose displays of imperial wealth and influence. Roman literature flourished with remarkable diversity, encompassing everything from epic poetry to profound philosophical works. The enduring masterpieces of Virgil, Ovid, Horace, and Seneca continue to be revered and analyzed in modern times. Roman philosophy, especially Stoicism, exerted a profound influence across the empire. Stoic thinkers emphasized the cultivation of virtue and the relentless pursuit of wisdom. They advocated for maintaining inner tranquility and equanimity, regardless of external challenges. The pinnacle of Roman cultural, political, and military achievement was perhaps most vividly embodied in their legal framework. Roman law represented an intricate and refined system incorporating statutes, legal doctrines, and judicial precedents. Rooted in the ideals of justice and the supremacy of law, it established principles of fairness and equity. This sophisticated legal structure not only governed the empire, but also laid the groundwork for numerous contemporary legal systems. While we marvel at the splendor of the Roman Empire, it is equally important to recognize its imperfections. The Roman Empire exhibited stark socioeconomic disparities, with a privileged elite amassing extraordinary wealth while the majority endured impoverished conditions. Slavery was deeply entrenched within Roman society, with enslaved individuals constituting a substantial proportion of the population. Despite these shortcomings, the Roman Empire endures as one of history's most profoundly influential civilizations. As you drift towards slumber, envision the vibrant streets of Rome, adorned with majestic architecture, bustling marketplaces, and animated forums. Picture senators engaged in heated debates within the Senate House, soldiers honing their skills in military camps, and philosophers exchanging profound insights in public squares. The Roman Empire, in all its intricate splendor, stands as a remarkable testament to human achievement. As our journey through history continues, let the whispers of antiquity guide you into tranquil repose, where dreams unfold among marble columns, murmuring fountains, and the eternal city that once ruled an empire. Now, as we delve deeper into life during the height of the Roman Empire, we shift our focus to its intricate economy and expansive trade networks. Rome's economy was a sophisticated and interconnected system, deeply intertwined with its political framework and cultural traditions. Its prosperity rested on three pillars: agriculture, commerce, and the widespread reliance on enslaved labor. The Roman Empire's immense reach across 3 continents facilitated a diverse array of trade goods and economic opportunities. Agriculture formed the cornerstone of Rome's economy, engaging the majority of its population in some form of farming. Whether wealthy patricians overseeing vast estates or humble plebeians labouring in the fields, all had a vested interest in the harvest. Wheat served as the primary staple, though vineyards and olive groves flourished as well. The fertile soil of the Italian peninsula, combined with the temperate Mediterranean climate, created ideal conditions for cultivation. Food production not only met local needs, but also supplied distant regions of the empire. This agricultural surplus was instrumental in sustaining Rome's expansive population and formidable military. Trade also played a pivotal role in the Roman economy. As a bustling commercial hub, Rome attracted goods from every corner of its vast dominion. The Mediterranean Sea, commonly known as the Roman Lake, served as the primary artery for this flourishing trade. Vessels carrying Egyptian grain, Eastern spices, and British tin frequently anchored at Rome's bustling harbours, where the city's markets brimmed with an array of goods sourced from every corner of the known world, a vivid reflection of the empire's vast influence and dominance. Local artisans further enriched this trade network, crafting pottery, textiles, and metalwork that were exported throughout the empire. No examination of the Roman economy would be complete without addressing the pivotal role of slave labour. Deeply entrenched in Roman society, slavery formed the backbone of much economic activity. Enslaved individuals toiled across all sectors, from agriculture and craftsmanship to domestic service in affluent households, traded in bustling markets. Their labour was indispensable to Rome's wealth and prosperity. Though conditions varied, the lives of slaves were typically marked by brutality and unrelenting hardship. Amidst its prosperity and abundance, the Roman economy nevertheless faced significant challenges. Persistent inflation plagued the empire, driven by continuous military expenditures and the subsequent devaluation of currency. A pronounced wealth disparity emerged, with the majority of resources controlled by a privileged few, while the masses struggled. This growing socio-economic divide would later play a pivotal role in Rome's eventual decline. Yet, at its zenith, the Roman Empire stood as a monumental example of economic coordination and commerce. Its unparalleled capacity to consolidate the resources of an expansive realm into a cohesive economic system remains an extraordinary achievement. The legacy of Rome's economic framework endures today, influencing the bedrock of contemporary financial systems and trade methodologies. So, as you relax and let your mind wander, picture the vibrant Roman marketplaces teeming with exotic imports, the golden wheat fields basking in the Mediterranean glow, and the rhythmic clatter of coins exchanging hands. The Roman economy was an intricate mechanism, one that not only sustained the empire, but also left an indelible mark on the world. As you gently drift into slumber, may the whispers of this ancient civilization soothe you into tranquil dreams. Tomorrow, we shall delve deeper into the vibrant tapestry of life at the height of the Roman Empire. Continuing our journey through the zenith of the Roman Empire, we now shift our focus to the flourishing world of entertainment and the arts. This era marked the crowning glory of Rome's cultural and creative accomplishments. The city thrived as a bustling centre, attracting artists, writers, and performers from every corner of the empire. Among the most beloved pastimes was the theatre, which captivated audiences with its diverse repertoire, from gripping tragedies to uproarious comedies. Actors, often slaves or freedmen, brought these stories to life while wearing intricately crafted masks, their exaggerated features vividly portraying distinct characters. Equally enthralling was the art of pantomime, where a lone dancer conveyed tales through graceful movements, accompanied by a chorus narrating or singing the story. Although the Roman Empire initially lacked permanent theatres, dramatic performances flourished as part of their cultural heritage, with temporary stages frequently erected for festivals and special occasions. The Romans were particularly fond of grand spectacles, with gladiatorial games standing as the ultimate expression of this passion. Held in the empire's magnificent amphitheatres, these games served as a showcase of Roman wealth and dominance. They encompassed diverse events, from thrilling chariot races to exotic animal hunts. Yet the most iconic were the gladiatorial combats, fierce battles fought by trained slaves or condemned criminals who risked their lives for public entertainment. Despite their violent nature, these contests captivated audiences, and the most skilled gladiators could rise to extraordinary fame and fortune, defying the limitations of their lowly status. Music also played a vital role in Roman society, enriching religious rites, military triumphs, and civic celebrations. The Romans employed an array of instruments, such as the lyre, the flute, and the tuba, a long, trumpet-like horn. Vocal performances were equally cherished, with many Roman poems composed specifically to be sung. The Romans also devised a musical notation system, though tragically, only a handful of these records have endured to modern times. In the realm of visual arts, the Romans exhibited a remarkable commitment to realism, striving to portray the world with striking authenticity. This is evident in their sculptures, which rendered human figures with meticulous detail, capturing lifelike features and nuanced expressions. They also mastered the art of intricate mosaics and frescoes, vividly illustrating scenes from daily life, mythology, and historical events. These artworks adorned both public spaces and private residences, offering invaluable glimpses into Roman culture and society. Literature flourished under Roman influence as well. The empire boasted an array of celebrated writers, from poets such as Virgil and Ovid to historians like Tacitus and Livy, as well as philosophers including Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Their works spanned diverse subjects: history, philosophy, love, and mythology, leaving an indelible mark on Western literary tradition. Education held a place of high esteem in Roman society, with a pronounced emphasis on scholarly endeavours and intellectual growth. Children received instruction in reading and writing, along with comprehensive education in disciplines such as mathematics, music, and philosophy. This educational system served dual purposes, preparing youth for their future societal roles, while imparting the core values and ideals of the Roman Empire. While the Roman Empire made remarkable advancements, daily life presented significant challenges. Society maintained a rigid hierarchy, marked by stark disparities between the wealthy elite and the impoverished masses. Slavery was pervasive, and countless individuals endured severe hardship. Yet, for those who mastered the intricacies of Roman society, opportunities for prosperity, influence, and cultural refinement were attainable. In our continued examination of the Roman Empire, we will analyze the intricate political, economic, and social frameworks that sustained its dominance. Additionally, we will investigate the underlying causes of its eventual decline, revealing how even the mightiest empires possess inherent vulnerabilities. For now, let these vivid glimpses of Roman civilization linger in your imagination, a powerful testament to the extraordinary ingenuity, artistic brilliance, and enduring resilience of a society that profoundly shaped human history. As we pause our exploration tonight, may the tranquil cadence of ancient Roman life gently guide you toward restful slumber. Our journey through the rich tapestry of the Roman Empire continues as we uncover the intricate details of daily existence during its golden age, an era marked by unprecedented territorial growth, sustained peace, and remarkable cultural flourishing. Picture the vibrant streets of Rome, the empire's pulsating core, alive with citizens from every stratum of society, from distinguished senators to the humblest laborers. At its zenith, the Roman Empire stood as a dynamic crossroads of civilizations, a breathtaking mosaic of interconnected lives that forever altered the trajectory of history. Our exploration begins with the quintessential Roman dwelling, the domus. Through groundbreaking architectural innovations, the Romans engineered multi-story residences that showcased their unparalleled mastery of construction. For the elite, these homes were expansive sanctuaries of opulence, adorned with exquisite mosaics, frescoes, and sculpted masterpieces. The atrium, situated at the heart of the domus, typically featured an impluvium, a basin designed to collect rainwater. This luminous courtyard, animated by shifting patterns of light and shadow, served as the focal point of Roman domestic life, functioning as a social hub, a venue for business dealings, and even a site for religious rituals. Yet, such domestic opulence was far from universal. Most Romans, especially in the capital, resided in insulae, multi-story apartment blocks that often rose 6 or 7 floors. These densely packed structures lacked the comforts of the domus, with their lower, more stable floors housing affluent tenants, while the upper, rickety levels accommodated the less privileged. Roman cuisine reflected both the Mediterranean climate and the empire's expansive reach. Staple foods consisted of grains, particularly wheat, which was ground into flour for bread, vegetables, legumes, and fruits, fresh or preserved, featured prominently in their diet. Meat, however, remained a rarity, reserved primarily for the wealthy or festive occasions. Fish and seafood were particularly prevalent, especially in coastal areas. One of the most distinctive features of Roman cuisine was the widespread use of garum, a fermented fish sauce that served as a ubiquitous seasoning, akin to modern-day salt. The production of this condiment formed a major industry in numerous Roman settlements. Yet, its pungent odor was so intense that manufacturing facilities were typically situated on the outskirts of towns. In the realm of fashion, the Romans are most famously associated with the toga, a voluminous woolen garment draped around the body. Though it became an emblem of Roman citizenship, the toga was primarily worn for formal events due to its impracticality. In everyday life, most Romans, both men and women, opted for a simple tunic. The fabric quality and embellishments of the tunic often reflected the wearer's social standing. For instance, senators sported tunics adorned with a broad purple stripe, while equestrians belonging to the lower aristocratic class wore tunics with a narrower stripe. Romans also had a penchant for jewelry, with both genders accessorizing with rings, bracelets, necklaces, and earrings. Affluent Romans frequently owned exquisite gold jewelry embellished with precious gemstones, whereas those of lesser means adorned themselves with accessories crafted from more economical materials. Regarding leisure activities, the Romans were particularly fond of grand public spectacles. The Colosseum, arguably the most emblematic structure of the era, hosted thrilling gladiatorial combats, staged naval battles, and other captivating public events. Theatre also flourished as a favoured pastime, with comedic performances enjoying widespread popularity. Nearly every town and city across the empire boasted its own theatre, where performances were commonly integrated into religious celebrations. Commerce played a pivotal role in Roman society, with goods streaming in from every corner of the empire. The marketplace, or forum, served as the bustling hub of economic activity, where merchants traded everything from daily provisions and garments to rare imports from distant lands. Additionally, the Romans engineered an extensive and sophisticated road network that bolstered both trade and military logistics. This era of Roman history reveals a society marked by striking contrasts and remarkable diversity, from the opulent villas of the elite to the cramped tenements of the underprivileged, from the lavish banquets of the nobility to the humble fare of common folk. The Roman Empire thrived as a multifaceted and dynamic civilization. As we explore this captivating period in greater depth, we'll uncover the nuances of daily existence, cultural traditions, and the social frameworks that shaped the Roman Empire during its golden age. Close your eyes, picture the lively avenues of ancient Rome, and allow history to unfold before you. Venturing further into the core of the Roman Empire, we step into its vibrant urban centres, where the routines of ordinary citizens came to life. Roman cities stood as testaments to engineering brilliance, boasting meticulously paved roads, sophisticated drainage systems, and majestic brick and stone edifices. Among these, the amphitheatre reigned as a cornerstone of Roman society, a gathering place for public entertainment and spectacles. These colossal venues, capable of accommodating thousands, represented architectural triumphs of their era. Equally central to Roman life was the household, or domus. More than mere dwellings, these homes functioned as fundamental social units, encompassing the patriarch, his family, and enslaved individuals. Affluent Romans resided in opulent urban villas, embellished with exquisite mosaics, vibrant frescoes, and ornate statuary. These expansive residences featured numerous chambers, including formal dining areas, private sleeping quarters, fully equipped kitchens, and frequently an enclosed courtyard garden. In stark contrast, the impoverished masses inhabited overcrowded, multi-storied tenements known as insulae, structures notorious for their shoddy construction and high fire risk. Roman society exhibited pronounced stratification, where an individual's social standing profoundly dictated their standard of living. The patrician class, composed of elite aristocrats, occupied the apex of the social pyramid. Beneath them were the plebeians, comprising the general populace, while slaves languished at the lowest rung of the societal ladder. Despite these disparities, all Roman citizens, irrespective of rank, had access to communal facilities such as public bathhouses, bustling forums, and grand amphitheatres. Roman gastronomy drew heavily from Mediterranean traditions, with olives, grapes, and wheat serving as dietary staples. Affluent Romans indulged in extravagant delicacies such as peacock tongues and dormice, while the general populace sustained themselves on simpler fare like bread, porridge, and vegetables. Wine, typically diluted with water, served as a fundamental beverage across all social classes. Deeply devout, the Romans worshipped an extensive pantheon of deities in ornate temples and shrines. They traced their city's origins to divine intervention and credited their military triumphs and prosperity to the gods' favour. Religion was inextricably linked to governance, with emperors frequently elevated to divine status and venerated as gods. Education held significant esteem in Roman society. Children from wealthy families received instruction at home from private tutors, studying rhetoric, philosophy, and mathematics. In contrast, those from humbler backgrounds often missed formal schooling, instead acquiring practical skills from their parents. Nonetheless, literacy rates in the Roman Empire surpassed those of many contemporary ancient civilizations. Roman law constituted an intricate system refined over centuries through tradition and judicial precedent. Roman law has profoundly shaped numerous legal systems across history, with many of its fundamental principles remaining relevant in contemporary jurisprudence. A particularly enduring legacy is the Roman introduction of the presumption of innocence, a cornerstone of modern justice systems. Roman culture was equally defined by its passion for leisure and public entertainment. Grand spectacles such as gladiatorial combat and chariot races captivated audiences in iconic venues like the Colosseum. Beyond these adrenaline-fueled events, theatre performances and musical gatherings flourished, with many citizens dedicating their leisure hours to playing instruments or attending dramatic productions. Life in the Roman Empire presented a striking contrast. Opulence coexisted with adversity, while extravagant public displays were balanced by modest personal enjoyments. This was a civilization renowned for its innovation, its fascination with spectacle, and its rigidly structured social order. Despite its inequities and challenges, Rome forged a society whose influence has endured through the ages, leaving an unmistakable imprint on the course of history. As we further explore the Roman Empire, we uncover the intricacies of daily life, examining the aspirations, ambitions, and struggles of its people. Now, turning our focus to the empire's intellectual landscape, we examine the role of education and scholarly endeavours during Rome's Golden Age. Much like contemporary society, the Romans recognized the importance of a comprehensive education. Yet the structure and curriculum of their schooling bore little resemblance to modern educational systems. To better understand this, let us reconstruct the typical academic journey of a Roman child. A defining experience during the height of the Roman Empire. At dawn, a young Roman boy would set out for the home of a clitoratus, a tutor specializing in reading and writing. While girls were not entirely deprived of education, their instruction was often less formal and more confined to the household, emphasizing domestic duties. Under the literatus' guidance, students learned the fundamentals of reading and writing in Latin, the empire's dominant language. Unlike today's public schooling, this education came at a cost, with fees reflecting the instructor's prestige. The classroom buzzed with the lively chorus of students reciting lessons in unison, a stark contrast to the subdued, independent study common in modern settings. Once proficient in these basics, the student would advance to a grammaticus, who specialized in grammar and literary studies. In this setting, the child would immerse themselves in the seminal works of renowned Greek and Roman authors, assimilating the profound cultural values and ethical principles these texts embodied. Bilingual proficiency being a hallmark of Roman elite culture, students would additionally master Greek composition under their tutor's guidance. The Grammaticus further instructed pupils in rhetoric, the art of persuasive oration, an indispensable skill in a society where public discourse held immense political and social significance. For families of means, the culminating phase of education involved advanced study in rhetoric and philosophy, a curriculum comparable to modern university education that groomed students for careers in law and statesmanship, the most esteemed vocations in Roman society. Yet intellectual engagement in the Roman Empire extended far beyond structured schooling. The Romans, deeply reverent of Greek cultural and academic accomplishments, seamlessly integrated these influences into their own civilization. Public and private libraries proliferated across the empire, their shelves lined with scrolls preserving the wisdom of classical thinkers. Learned circles regularly convened for public symposia and philosophical debates, where the intellectual elite examined profound ethical and metaphysical questions. Nevertheless, this sophisticated educational paradigm was not exempt from contemporary criticism. Many Romans expressed concern over the growing emphasis on Greek culture and language, viewing it as a threat to traditional Roman virtues. Criticism also arose regarding the strict disciplinary measures in Roman schools, where corporal punishment was routinely administered. Yet whether admired or despised, the Roman education system undeniably played a pivotal role in society during the empire's golden age. It molded the intellect and principles of Roman citizens, leaving an indelible mark on everything from governance to the literary arts. While its reliance on memorization and physical discipline may seem archaic today, this system laid the foundation for modern education in countless ways. Now, as we leave behind the lively classrooms and hushed libraries of ancient Rome, we stand at the entrance of a Roman household, poised to uncover the private world of domestic life. But that tale must wait for another occasion. For the moment, let us envision the rhythmic chants of young students reciting their lessons, the whisper of parchment unfurling in a scholar's hands, and the spirited debates echoing through lecture halls. May these scenes gently guide you into restful sleep, transporting you on history's timeless currents. As our exploration of the Roman Empire's zenith continues, we now immerse ourselves in the vibrant energy of a thriving marketplace. Known in Latin as mela, markets were a cornerstone of Roman society, functioning as vibrant centres of both commerce and community. Far more than mere trading posts, these bustling spaces served as forums for exchanging news, debating politics, and fostering social bonds. The marketplace teemed with activity, a lively mosaic of stalls, merchants, and patrons. Farmers often sold their harvests directly to customers, while fishermen touted the day's catch, and bakers lured passers-by with the irresistible scent of warm bread. Vendors offered a diverse array of goods, from clothing and pottery to household wares and even enslaved individuals. The air buzzed with the lively din of negotiations and the rhythmic clinking of coins. To an outsider, the scene might have seemed chaotic, but Romans navigated this orchestrated tumult with practiced ease. Roman cuisine, though uncomplicated, was nutritious. The dietary staple was grain, milled into flour and transformed into bread. Olive oil and wine formed essential components of their diet. The Romans savoured a diverse array of fruits and vegetables, such as apples, pears, cherries, onions, leeks, lentils, and beans. Meat was considered a delicacy, typically reserved for festive occasions. Fish and seafood were also highly prized, abundant thanks to the empire's extensive coastline. As dusk fell, the marketplace slowly emptied, yet the pulse of Roman social life continued unabated. Evenings were devoted to leisure and amusement. The Romans were enthusiastic theatre-goers, with comedic performances holding particular appeal. Plays were staged in grand open-air theatres, where audiences could relish the show while indulging in light refreshments. Yet, the most celebrated form of entertainment remained the gladiatorial games. These brutal spectacles featured gladiators, often slaves or convicts, battling one another, or wild beasts in fights to the death. Although these games were notoriously violent, they captivated massive audiences with their sheer intensity. The arena echoed with the thunderous cheers of spectators, the clashing of steel, and the gripping drama of mortal combat, a spectacle that enthralled Roman society. Yet the Romans were far more than mere seekers of bloodshed and entertainment. They placed great value on intellectual pursuits, fostering a widespread system of education where children studied reading, writing, mathematics, and rhetoric. Greek culture and philosophy held a revered place in Roman society, with many scholars delving into the works of Plato, Aristotle, and other great thinkers. Moreover, the Romans developed an advanced legal system, firmly upholding the principles of justice and the rule of law. The 12 Tables, Rome's earliest legal code, clearly delineated the rights and obligations of citizens. This comprehensive legislation addressed diverse matters ranging from property disputes to criminal offences. To uphold these laws, the Romans established an elaborate judicial system with courts and magistrates. As evening fell, citizens retreated to their homes, whose conditions starkly reflected their social standing. The impoverished crowded into cramped multi-story tenements known as insulae, flimsily built structures vulnerable to frequent fires. In contrast, the affluent resided in opulent villas adorned with intricate mosaics, expansive chambers, and verdant gardens. Parting the lively thoroughfares and embracing the night's tranquillity, we contemplate the intricate tapestry of Roman life at its zenith. This was an era of remarkable advancement and affluence, yet also one marred by stark disparities and brutality. Nevertheless, amid these contradictions, Roman civilization forged an enduring legacy that profoundly shaped the course of history. As we surrender to sleep, we remain captivated by the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire, a civilization that continues to enthrall and influence us centuries later. In our previous exploration, we wandered through the vibrant markets of ancient Rome, immersed in the intoxicating aromas of spices, herbs, and olives, while the lively symphony of clinking coins, spirited haggling, and the polyglot chatter of its diverse citizens filled the air. Now let us delve into the very core of the Roman Empire, its governance and political machinery. At the peak of its dominance, Rome was an oligarchy cloaked in the guise of a republic. Political authority was firmly held by a select group of influential families, the patricians, who monopolized power. These elite dynasties often boasted ancient lineages, tracing their ancestry to the very foundations of Rome. Despite this consolidation of influence, the Romans took immense pride in their republican principles, ceremoniously electing 2 consuls annually to oversee state affairs. The consuls, the highest-ranking officials, shared executive authority. They were selected from the Senate, a body of approximately 300 men who wielded the true power behind Rome's government. As the principal legislative assembly, the Senate shaped laws and dictated matters of war and peace. Senators played a key role in electing consuls, a process that frequently sparked fierce political rivalries and sometimes even violent conflicts. Beyond the consuls and the Senate, the Roman government comprised several other significant offices. These included the praetors, who served as judges, the aediles, responsible for public infrastructure and festivals, the quaestors, who oversaw state finances, and the censors, tasked with maintaining census records and upholding societal morals. To counterbalance the influence of the patrician class, certain institutions enabled the participation of plebeians or common citizens in governance. The plebeians could elect their own representatives, known as tribunes, who held the authority to veto Senate decisions. This mechanism served as a vital check against patrician dominance, introducing a degree of democratic accountability within the Roman Republic. However, despite these democratic elements, corruption pervaded the Roman government. Elections were frequently manipulated and bribery was widespread. Wealthy individuals could purchase political offices, while politicians exploited their positions to accumulate personal wealth. Such systemic corruption contributed significantly to the decline of the Roman Republic and the eventual rise of the Roman Empire. During the late Republic, a succession of civil conflicts and political upheavals paved the way for Julius Caesar's ascension, a magnetic military leader who consolidated authority and proclaimed himself perpetual dictator. Following his assassination, his adopted heir Octavian, subsequently titled Augustus, emerged as Rome's inaugural emperor, heralding the Republic's demise and the empire's dawn. Under imperial rule, the Senate's influence waned significantly, reduced to a largely ceremonial body. The emperor wielded supreme authority, presiding over critical decisions and commanding the armed forces. Nevertheless, rulers perpetuated the facade of republican governance, retaining the Senate and other institutions, though their roles were substantially diminished. This framework governed the expansive Roman Empire, stretching from northern Britain to southern Egypt and from western Spain to eastern Syria. Though riddled with complexity and frequent corruption, the system effectively maintained dominion over a vast and diverse realm for centuries. Examining the empire's political fabric reveals the elaborate interplay of power and governance that rendered Rome among history's most captivating civilizations. In the following section, we will examine the daily experiences of ordinary Roman citizens, from the humble plebeians of the working class to the affluent patricians. Accompany me as we immerse ourselves in the daily life of ancient Rome, witnessing firsthand the vibrant sights, captivating sounds, and rich experiences at the core of the Roman Empire. Rome, the magnificent capital of the empire, stood as an unparalleled wonder of the ancient world. As we embark on the 6th chapter of our exploration into life during Rome's Golden Age, we turn our attention to its breathtaking urban landscape and architectural achievements, structures that continue to command admiration centuries later. No other city of antiquity could rival Rome's grandeur. It was an immense, sprawling metropolis, teeming with a population that may have approached 1 million inhabitants. The city was organized into distinct neighborhoods, or vici, each governed by local officials with specific duties. These districts blended residences, commercial establishments, and public buildings in a dynamic arrangement that would feel remarkably familiar to modern urban dwellers. The residences of the elite, known as domus, epitomized opulence and sophistication. These lavish homes typically centered around an open-air courtyard or atrium which functioned as the household's focal point. Radiating from this central space were various chambers, including dining areas, private quarters, and even luxurious bathing suites. These residences were embellished with elaborate mosaics, vivid frescoes, and various artistic elements that reflected the affluence and social standing of their inhabitants. While such grand domus showcased opulence, most of Rome's citizens resided in cramped, multi-story apartment complexes known as insulae. These structures, often shoddily built, were prone to overcrowding and hazardous conditions. Fires frequently broke out in the insulae, and at times, entire buildings collapsed due to structural flaws or neglect. Nevertheless, these tenements housed the overwhelming majority of Rome's urban population. Public architecture was a defining feature of Roman urban life. The most iconic among them, the Colosseum, constructed under Emperor Vespasian, accommodated as many as 50 spectators. This grand amphitheatre hosted gladiatorial combats, wild beast hunts, and even staged naval battles. Other notable public structures included the Circus Maximus, a massive chariot racing arena seating up to 150,000, and the Roman Forum, the city's political and commercial nucleus. Additionally, Rome boasted an extensive aqueduct system, channeling fresh water from distant sources into the heart of the metropolis. These remarkable aqueducts, many of which remain standing today, stand as enduring monuments to Roman engineering excellence. The water they transported served public baths, ornate fountains, and even select private residences. Public baths, or thermae, played a pivotal role in Roman social culture. Far more than mere bathing facilities, these grand complexes provided spaces for exercise, leisure, and social interaction. They often featured elaborate designs, including heated and cooled bathing chambers, expansive swimming pools, and even libraries. Sanitation and public health were prioritized throughout the city. The Romans constructed an extensive sewer network, the Cloaca Maxima, which channeled waste from the city into the Tiber River. Additionally, they introduced measures to maintain food security and curb disease outbreaks, such as employing public physicians and distributing grain subsidies. Walking through Rome's ancient streets, one cannot help but be awestruck by the city's magnificence. It was a place where the extravagance of the elite coexisted with the hardships faced by ordinary citizens. The towering achievements of Roman engineering rose majestically above the rhythms of everyday life, while the whispers of history lingered in every weathered stone and shadowed corner. As night deepens and dreams draw near, let us reflect on ancient Rome, its vibrant streets alive with the footsteps of generations past. A city of visionaries, architects, artists, and conquerors. A city that was, and remains, a monument to humanity's boundless potential. At the zenith of the Roman Empire, Rome's streets pulsed with an electrifying energy, alive with ceaseless movement. Commerce sustained this flourishing civilization, its markets overflowing with merchants peddling everything from fresh harvests and livestock to exotic silks and spices from distant eastern lands. Spanning vast territories, the empire's meticulously constructed roads and maritime routes channeled goods from its farthest frontiers to the capital, cementing Rome's place as the epicenter of global trade. The Romans' daily existence was shaped profoundly by social standing. The elite patricians, perched atop society's hierarchy, indulged in lives of staggering luxury. They lived in magnificent villas, embellished with exquisite frescoes and intricate mosaics, typically located on sprawling estates beyond the city limits. These residences served as emblems of their owners' wealth and influence, frequently hosting opulent banquets and soirees where guests revelled in fine wines and lavish entertainment. In sharp contrast, the plebeians, ordinary citizens, dwelled in cramped apartments called insulae, nestled within the city's vibrant core. Despite their humble living quarters, these lower-class Romans took immense pride in their tight-knit communities and played an active role in public affairs. They frequented the city's abundant bathhouses, markets, and amphitheatres, immersing themselves in the empire's diverse array of public spectacles. The Roman Empire was celebrated for its pioneering public amenities, many of which were unprecedented at the time. The city featured an elaborate aqueduct network that delivered fresh water to public fountains, baths, and private residences. The Roman baths, in particular, stood as engineering marvels and bustling social hubs. Citizens from all walks of life gathered there to bathe, mingle, and debate politics. These baths often showcased grand architectural designs, complete with heated floors, steam chambers, and expansive pools filled with mineral-rich waters. Education held a pivotal position in Roman society. Although formal education was neither state-funded nor compulsory, many Roman families employed private tutors to instruct their children. Knowledge was highly valued, and Roman youth were trained to read, write, and articulate their thoughts fluently in Latin, and frequently in Greek as well. Their curriculum also encompassed philosophy, music, mathematics, and astronomy, underscoring the empire's profound reverence for intellectual endeavours. Religion permeated every aspect of Roman life. The Romans venerated a diverse pantheon of deities, each governing distinct realms of influence. Steeped in superstition, they sought divine favour through prayers, offerings, and intricate ceremonies. Temples dedicated to these gods adorned the cityscape, functioning as both sacred spaces and hubs for communal activities. The Roman legal system was remarkably sophisticated for its era. Citizens enjoyed the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and retained the right to present their defence in court. Here's the rewritten version with improved fluency, richer vocabulary, and enhanced readability while preserving the original meaning and professionalism. Yet the courts frequently exhibited bias toward the wealthy and powerful, while corruption permeated the system. As dusk settled over the city, Rome's nightlife awakened with energy. Taverns and inns brimmed with patrons indulging in food, drink, and camaraderie. Street performers captivated passers-by with melodies, dances, and theatrical acts. The city's grand amphitheatres hosted thrilling gladiatorial battles, chariot races, and dramatic performances, attracting multitudes of spectators. Despite its disparities and challenges, life at the height of the Roman Empire pulsed with vitality and possibility. This was an age of intellectual flourishing, architectural brilliance, and cultural exchange. It was an era when even a humble plebeian could ascend to the esteemed rank of senator, and the triumphs of individuals and society alike were celebrated with unparalleled grandeur. The Roman Empire in its prime stood as a testament to humanity's capacity for advancement and prosperity. Tonight, as we drift into slumber, let us envision Rome's bustling streets, the majesty of its monuments, and the dynamism of its people, and dream of a time when Rome reigned as the crown jewel of civilization.